Leah Naess, welcome to the Rocky Mountain Writer Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you on. And we have a very unusual story to tell today about the publication of a book called Redemption by a late friend of yours. And it's really an unusual and also, I would say, heartwarming story about the power of writing networks and writing friends. And it's quite the journey. Um, First, before we get into Karen a little bit, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been a writer and where you're from, that kind of thing?
Yes, I moved to Colorado in 1985. I do have a degree in communications and experience as an instructional designer, and I worked at the Space Center in Lockheed, uh, down at Colorado Springs. At When I moved here, they were building Falcon Air Force Base. It's since been closed down, but there was a lot of activity around it at that time. And then I eventually moved to Denver and joined Rocky Mountain Writers Group. It was kind of my goal at some point to get into writing fiction, and it offered so many free opportunities to go to workshops and kind of dabble in different things, get my feet wet. I took a lot of online classes with Sharon Mingery.
Sharon,
Yeah, Sharon, um,
sure.
and enjoyed that immensely. It was a great training for me. Eventually, I worked as a contract technical writer, and when I moved to Denver, and I met Karen at Bell Labs, and we were both writers on the same team, and became friends. That was in 1995, and we remained friends. And when we had an opening, I had gone to a class through Jefferson County Adult Education on a technical writing and writing fiction. And from that, we formed a critique group. And we actually were together for 20 some years. When we had an opening, I knew Karen was also interested in getting involved in writing fiction. I invited her to join our group.
And you told me previously that you really noticed almost immediately that Karen's writing was very, very
Oh,
good.
we just fell off the chair, basically. She was really nervous, of course. And of course, we knew each other. Um, and she just started reading, and everybody, it was stop, you could drop a pin, because it was so clear, so concise, such a different style, a unique style, and to the point that you just wanted to say, I don't want to give you any constructive criticism to change any way you're writing, but if you want to think about this as a plot point, then okay, let's talk about that, because her writing was so good right off the bat. And her book reflects that. And I think anybody who knew her, if they sit down and read the book, they will just feel her wash over them, because it's her. You're sitting next to her having a cup of coffee when you read her book.
Wow. Wow. Well, let's just kind of set this up. It's really, again, as I say, a very uplifting story in many ways, although there's some sadness to it too. So Karen starts working on this book, but it takes her a while because she's got a busy career and a busy life going, and she just about finishes it, and then a couple of years ago passes away.
That's correct.
Yeah. And
And
and you and your friends proceed to go ahead and publish it, and then the result, just to get to the cut to the chase, is that Redemption, a Joe Walker mystery, came out about what now, about a year and a half ago or so.
2 years, 22.
Okay, 22.
I
Okay.
copyrighted it in 22. If I would have known more, this is all a learning process, right? If I would have
Yeah.
known more, if I wasn't in a position to really market it a lot, I would have waited until 23 to give it that date. But anyway, I published
Yeah.
22. But I
Yeah.
just, like, that was a milestone. I needed to get it done and make it all official. I did all the legal stuff um,
Right.
in 2022.
Right.
So
And
yes, so when Karen died, her sister came. I was involved in her last couple of months in helping her make it through life, and her sister just said, will you publish her book?" And I said, "Okay, here's the deal. My writing is so different than hers, and I don't trust myself to even do more than a copy edit. But there's a member of our group, Don Metzler, and his writing is much more in line with the way she writes. And I said, I'll ask him if he would help." And so he said yes, he would. And we both, everybody in our group, enjoyed her writing, and everybody felt like that book should be published. And I had already started doing script writing, and so I always told her it should be a movie. And I saw it right off the bat, the beginning, the ending, many scenes at the end of that chapter, I would say. And this is so visually exciting. This really needs to be made into a film. So
yeah.
so the ending, we didn't have an ending. And if you want to break in, because people might get tired of listening to me, that's okay. But I'll tell you, or I'll just go ahead and tell you how we got the ending.
Well, before we get to the ending, let's set up the story itself, and then that will help make more sense when we talk about the ending. Does that make sense? So
Sure.
tell us about the main character. Tell us where it's set. It's a mystery. It says right there, it's a Joe Walker mystery. Tell us about Joe Walker. Tell us what the plot involves.
Okay, and I'm going to start with Joe Walker is really Karen's alter ego. Karen graduated from Boulder, the University of Colorado, with a journalism degree, and actually went out back east and worked for a newspaper for a while before she came back to the Denver area. And so the story, excuse me, is set in Denver, and it begins with a young girl walking to the cathedral on Colfax. And if any of you are from this area, you know it's one of those really big, ornate, gorgeous cathedrals. And she runs up the stairs and goes to open the door, and the door is locked. And we gather from her thoughts and what she says that if she were in her home country, those doors would be open and priests would help her. And she is also being pursued. Um, and what ends up happening is she's murdered. And that is how the story begins. And Joe Walker is assigned to her murder investigation in conjunction with doing some work on an immigration story in Denver. She's working for um, a monthly paper, not like, it says in the story she came from the Boston Globe, which would have been high stress every day, deadlines, 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 crazy. So this is a different paper, like more of a relaxed approach. So when Karen goes to the murder scene, I say Karen, when Joe Walker goes to,
Yeah.
I know, when Joe Walker goes to the murder scene and looks at it, it just blows her away. And she just feels like there is no way I am going to let this murder get missed. It's important. And if I don't know who she is, I'm going to find out who she is. I don't know why and how, but I'm going to find out why and how. And if someone did wrong by her, I'm going to fix it. I'm here for justice for everybody. And that is kind of who she is. And then she goes step by step through all these different ways of trying to make that happen, including lockpicking, including getting kidnapped, many, many
Yeah. Yeah.
encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
Karen was a character. She got some of that from a book about Navy SEALs. I also got part of her library. I inherited part of her library, and she
ah,
got some of that from like a brother, a son in, I would say a nephew-in-law, but the husband, whatever, however you say that, and picking locks, taught her how to pick locks. So,
yeah. So now let's get to the end. How did you tack on an end? Just did you discuss it did you talk about the story and how you'd wrap it up? And then how did your friend Don match the style.
Right. It's really important. It's really important too. She brought it to our writers group. She brought the end as we know it and pretty much as it is written to the writers group. But there were a few missing pieces, and Don said, Leah, this really doesn't make sense. And I can't visualize this. So it takes place in Parker. So I went to Parker with my camera and I just started filming what I think I saw her writing. And then I sent it to him. He lives in North Carolina now. And,
Ah,
and and so then he could see it. And so he could write that part, but before that there was a really integral part that hadn't been covered in the script. And so I had talked to Karen a lot when she was in the hospital about what the ending and all kinds of did you want to publish this book and everything. And he actually called to her from the grave and actually asked her, told her that we were having trouble putting a few pieces together and they didn't make sense to us, and would she help us. And that night, like at 4 a.m, he put a piece of paper and a pen and an ink pen by by his end table. And that night she came to him and he said he just picked everything up and wrote. Um, and and that is the missing piece. She gave it to us. We put it in two places, and then that made it all work.
wow, wow. So that is just such a great story. I just love it. Tell us how you then went about getting it published. And I also note online, I mean, you've got 31 reviews on Amazon, a solid 5 stars. What have you done to market it? So how did you decide to publish it, and what have you done to get the word out?
Not enough.
Yeah, there's always something more you could do. Yeah.
There's a lot more you could do, but so everything that I learned in different classes about marketing a book is, so say, get involved in social media, but I'm not really comfortable with that. And I did hire. I am a member of Women in Film and Media Colorado, which it goes like by Witham Co. Um, and there are a couple of students. They were students and now they're members in that group who worked with me at a rate that I could afford. And we actually filmed some of the people who gave reviews were my neighbors and my husband, and we filmed. They all came to our house one afternoon, and we filmed them. And that we kind of had a party, and so we posted them. And then I have a friend who Carol Rodarte Wilson, who is used to be a radio personality. So
Mm,
I asked her to come and read excerpts. And then, so the woman who did the camera work, I thought did a phenomenal job of making everybody comfortable. I said, would you take the excerpts and the recording of them and then put visuals to them? And so she did. Now, a lot of those we posted them, and we have a following on TikTok, not so much on Facebook, but like 75 or something on TikTok. We did one big, huge, where they give you it looks like you're on fire or something. I don't know, that you had a lot of views, but it only happened once. But anyway,
yeah.
um, the thing that kind of gets you is it doesn't. Anyway, we posted all of that. It's on the website, www.karenstarkins.com. And
Got
it's
it.
not redemption, because if you go into Amazon and you don't
Right.
know her actual name, there's 20 pages of redemption. So
Right. Right.
yeah, you just couldn't get that URL. But
Right.
anyway, so it's posted on her website now. The reviews, some of the reviews are posted. The excerpts, the illustrated excerpts are posted so that people could look at it and get a feel for the book and buy it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I did. Now, as far as those reviews that we have, there should be more. And
Uh,
I actually personally wrote to friends of hers and mine because we had been in work groups together, and I sent them a PDF of the book. And I said, or an ebook. I had an ebook also that I could, a Kindle that
yeah.
they could read.
Maybe I'm misreading the number, but anyway, I mean, clearly people like the book. That was my point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Everybody, yeah, they like, and
Yeah.
anyone who knew Karen especially likes the book. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people on there who didn't know her.
Yeah.
So
That's very, very good.
I asked people,
So,
like my husband says, though, the way I kind of ask people is, and I don't always say this, although um, I was at a gym today, and I'm sending somebody a copy of the book, and I said, and I'll send you the PDF, but I'd really like you to write a review. And then I said, but if it's not going to be good, please don't bother.
yeah. Yeah.
So, but
So,
yeah.
so how did you feel when you finally held a copy of that book in your hands?
Oh, I was so happy. Well, okay, now let's back up. Now I'm happier. I didn't care. I think we didn't have such a good back cover on the first, but on Amazon you can just go in and change it. I
Yeah.
worked with a couple that I knew as a technical writer. I used to belong to the Boulder Writers Associate Alliance, bwa.org. And this guy came, his name is David Dworkin, and it's DLD Books. Well, he came to our BWA meeting, and he talked about how do you go about self-publishing. So he was really nice to me about, I said, the back is really, the back cover, it is really bad, and I would like to put a bunch of comments on there, and spiff it up a little. It looked kind of, I thought, amateurish. But
Yeah.
so he was happy to do that, and he did that. And I published at Ingram Spark because I still need to hit libraries. That's what
Sure.
I would like to. And I also, and independent bookstores, which I
Yep.
have done some selling through SIPA, Colorado
Yep.
Independent Publishers Association.
Yep.
But
But
not enough, not enough.
yeah. Yeah.
So
But nonetheless, it must have felt wonderful to hold your friend's book in your hands. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even the reader's copy, even. And actually, my neighbors, I did 5 reader copies that I gave to my neighbors to read. So they
Yeah.
actually enjoyed that also.
Yeah. Well, and Leah, let's talk a little bit about your own writing. What are you working on?
I'm working on the script for Redemption. And um, and it is pretty challenging because when you read the book, which something that's part of it that makes it so interesting is she goes through all the thought processes that she goes through to write the story as if you are in her head, if you are a reporter. And so that's not film. Film is action. Film is show.
Sure.
So I really am going segment by segment and looking at how you can show this now, that what she's saying.
Have you ever written a screenplay before?
Yes, I studied at night for probably 12 years
Wow.
through workshops from some people in the area who came from LA, Trey Cartwright in particular.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Trey's well known in RMFW circles. Yeah.
yeah,
Great. Great.
yeah.
So how's the screenplay coming along? And are you showing it to anybody as you go or just working on it?
No, not yet. I'm not. I have a group of people uh, that are my posse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I am showing it. I am working with them, but not. I haven't. I'm not at a point yet where I want to show it to anyone. I'm
Yeah.
still actually. I'm at a point now where the book kind of starts slower than a script would be,
Right.
and the character had an issue of a woman in Boston that she was a reporter with. The woman was a whistleblower, and she gets murdered. And so the reporter, Joe, brings all this guilt. Was it my fault? Did I do something wrong? Did I overstep? did I not protect her? Did so many things to her new job in Denver. And, you know, I'm going to show it as an act zero in the beginning. And so,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of those feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Are you working on any other fiction
Yeah.
besides the screenplay?
No, right now, I'm working on another screenplay, and the name of it is Boundless. My brother died of MS, and
Mhm.
not related. We rescued a dog who was being trained to be a service dog from the prison system. And that service dog was rejected. But she ended up being a really good dog, and she ended up being able to be a service dog. And so I'm writing a movie that she becomes the service dog for him.
Ah,
Not him,
wow.
but that character. And
Right.
he died of MS, and the character has MS. And so it goes into the disease as well as service dog training.
Wow. Well, Leah, this has just been an absolutely incredible story. Really fascinating. And congratulations to you and all your friends for seeing your friend's novel through to publication and distribution. And, must be very proud to know that people are out there reading Karen's wonderful words.
Well, the biggest thing also is that I would like to leave a legacy for the people who are caught in human trafficking. And
Yeah.
I do have on the website a support area where that has help, as well as groups of people. There's some educational information on there if there's anyone who would like to just get a feel for what's going on out there.
Right. Excellent. Well, as we wrap up, we always like to recommend a book. Have you recommend a book or a writer that you think more people should be reading?
I have a book that I'm really enjoying because it's political, and my background at one point involved, well, I worked on Jimmy Carter's a presidential campaign. It's called An Unfinished Love Story by Doris Kearns Godwin.
Yep. That's a,
And yeah, it's in the 60s, and it's kind of the times when I was growing up. And you're you see a lot of what she's talking about. I graduated, Karen Starkins and I were the same age. We graduated from high school in 1969. So we didn't know it as an adult so much, but it's pretty interesting. I'm enjoying it a
yeah.
lot. And the other one is Atomic Habits. And
Yeah.
and I had to do that. I finally got that. And basically, if you were to look at my whiteboard now, it has three columns. One of the things I don't want to do, I hate doing, I hate this stuff. Things I really like to do, and things I should do.
Yeah.
And so I sort of have I go back and forth, and I picked out of some of those. And by giving myself permission to do the things I really like to do, like writing the script, then I'm able to get some of those other things done.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, this has just been a pleasure, Leah. Thank you so much for your time today and good luck down the road with all your projects.
Thank you.